Hey everyone, and welcome to the drafting table. This explainer is brought to you by Forge College. Now, as part of our Advanced Solidity Projects module on composability, and coming in fresh off our last lesson where we navigated risk assessment methods, today we are laying out the exact blueprints for something really exciting. We are wiring up a dynamic proxy. I mean, who doesn't love the idea of upgrading a smart contract without completely breaking the entire blockchain, right? Let's dive right into the proxy setup strategies that form the absolute bedrock of upgradable smart contracts. Here are the strict technical specs for today's schematic. We're going to track from the basic proxy blueprint, move into the core mechanism of delegate call, build out our scaffold, prove the wiring actually works, and then finally execute our very first upgrade swap. It's a packed agenda, so let's get building. Section 1. The proxy blueprint. Let's set the stage for dynamic proxies. Okay, to build this machine, we first need to isolate the single most important technical constraint of proxies. A proxy delegates execution to an implementation. Basically, this means the logic runs, but the reading and the writing of data exclusively use the proxy storage slots. This is absolutely crucial. If you don't wire this correctly right from the start, your later tests will flat out lie to you. They'll make it look like state changes are happening perfectly, when in reality, they aren't happening where you think they are. Moving right along to Section 2. Understanding delegate call. This is the core mechanism. Let's look closely at the central mechanism that makes this whole contraption tick. Delegate call. So, what is it? It's a low-level function where a contract executes another contract's code, all while maintaining its own storage layout and message sender. I actually like to think of it like a body borrowing a brain. The brain, which is our implementation contract, does all the brilliant thinking and calculating, but the body's backpack, the proxy, is the one that actually gets filled with the data. Visually splitting the responsibilities on our blueprint, the proxy contract holds the state, the storage, and the entry point. It's our permanent body. Meanwhile, the implementation contract holds the stateless logic functions. It's the swappable brain. Understanding this exact split is literally the foundation of everything we're doing today. Section 3. Building the scaffold. Time to assemble the pieces on our drafting board. Time to get our hands dirty. Let's assemble this minimal scaffold. We're going to follow 4 sequential assembly instructions to build and verify your proxy using Hardhat or Foundry, entirely from scratch and without relying on any external libraries. First, initialize the project and compile. Second, deploy the local implementation and the proxy. Third, interact via the proxy using the implementation's ABI. And fourth, inspect those proxy storage slots directly. Looking at the actual code structure, we create ImplV1.sol with our logic and Proxy.sol with a fallback function and our delegate call assembly. Notice how we store the implementation address here. We put it precisely in the EIP 1967 slot. Your code needs to be intentionally minimal here so you can trace every single instruction. When deploying, you must deploy ImplV1 first, and then deploy the proxy passing it ImplV1's address. It is a strict sequence, guys. Section 4. Proving the wiring works. Let's do a diagnostic inspection. Any good engineer tests their machine before shipping it, right? So let's run our 4-part diagnostic round-trip test. First, we set a value via the proxy and expect a successful transaction. Next, we read the value via the proxy, and we should see the number 42. Then we inspect storage slot 0 of the proxy directly, and we should see the hex word for 42. Finally, we check the EIP 1967 implementation pointer to ensure it matches our deployed brain. If all 4 of these checks pass with green lights, your wiring is flawless, and your proxy is officially delegating logic while retaining state. But what if it doesn't? If your machine is smoking and shooting sparks, here are the most common developer mistakes. Calling the proxy reverts or returns 0. Check if you use the implementation ABI. Honestly, it's hilariously common to try and call the proxy with its own empty ABI and get a big fat 0 back. It's a true rite of passage. Storage inspection shows 0, but the call return non-zero. You probably attached the wrong contract address. Fallback reverted. Time to trace the assembly and check your cal data copies. Hey, don't panic. We've literally all been there. Which brings us to the million-dollar question. How do we upgrade? Like, what happens when we want to give our proxy a smarter, upgraded brain? Section 5. Swapping the implementation. Wiring for upgrades. This is where the magic of dynamic composability actually shines through. To upgrade, you simply deploy ImplV2 with its altered, smarter logic. Then you update the EIP 1967 implementation slot pointer in the proxy via an admin function. And just like that, immediately, your delegated logic changes while your stored values, the data in the backpack, remain completely untouched. It is quite literally a seamless brain transplant. Finally, Section 6, Takeaways and Next Steps. Let's finalize this blueprint. As we roll up today's schematics, there is one golden rule you absolutely must carry forward as you continue learning within the Solidity and Ethereum Quests track. Execution context matters. Delegate call preserves the message sender, but uses the proxy's storage layout. The crucial takeaway is this: attaching the implementation ABI to the proxy address is the absolute only way to get meaningful interactions. Burn this into your engineering brain. To quickly summarize our blueprint, delegate call uses the proxy storage context. You must always attach the implementation ABI to the proxy address and verify your wiring by inspecting storage slots directly. Keep this exact scaffold handy for our next lesson, because we are going to crash test it by forcing storage collisions. It's going to be chaotic and highly educational. But before we go, think about this. If we can swap the logic of an immutable ledger at will, who really controls the trust in a trustless system? Something to chew on. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Be sure to visit forge.college to learn more about the subject and explore all our other Web3 related topics. See you in the next one, and keep building.